Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa Kleins with Dr. Brown's Medical, and I am here today with Nicholas Hall of Graham's Foundation and a mother of premature infants, Raquel Tolver. And we are so thankful that you're here today for this conversation.
Thank you guys for having me here. It's such an honor to be able to share my story. It's something that, based on everything I've been through, it's so empowering to be able to not only share, but also support other parents who might be going through something similar. But a little bit about my story. My husband and I had our first son in 2020, mid of the pandemic. Do not recommend. And after that, we started trying for a second child. And we struggled with infertility for well over a year. And we eventually did receive the news that we were expecting. However, we were expecting quadruplets. And very early on, it was clear that it was going to be a high risk pregnancy. We were being monitored on a weekly basis. However, at 22 weeks, my water broke,
Mm.
which was our biggest fear. We met with doctors. They were pretty straightforward and honest. Hey, if babies come, none of them would survive at the weight that they were at. There was zero rate of survival. So I was being monitored. Thankfully, by the grace of God, we made it to viability week, and at 25 weeks, my contractions started. At that point, we knew it was go time, but I was holding on for dear life. Every
Mm.
day mattered for my babies, and I knew I needed to do everything I could to, you know, try to deliver a little bit later. So exactly at 26 weeks and 2 days, I deliver four babies,
Mm.
Bryson, Amaya, Royce, and Denzel. Um, and that was just the beginning of quite the journey that we will face. But thankfully, they all survived, which was one of my biggest fears at that time.
Mm.
In the moment, being as small as they were, my smallest was 1 pound, my biggest was only 2 pounds. Um, you know, the rates of survival weren't quite completely there for us, but
Mm.
in that moment, they all survived, and so it began the NICU journey, which was quite brutal. Because I was ruptured at 22 weeks, we had anticipated baby A to have some struggles. Um, However, we did not anticipate we would have quite the obstacles that we did have. When they were born, Bryson was intubated, and they did have respiratory support for quite some time. Um, and eventually, they did have to have three out of my four had to have heart surgery. And that was a sign of, because they couldn't come down under respiratory support. We did some extensive exams, and we realized they all had PDAs. Um, but yes, they were all under CPAP, and they were intubated. But eventually, once the surgeries, we got over those obstacles, we were able to, you know, slowly wean them off of oxygen.